guys, this is Vanessa from It's All About Me channel, and I would like to welcome you to my channel if you are new to the channel. If you are a subscriber, thanks for coming back to check out this video. Now today I'm going to be discussing my experience with the use of growth hormones. So now I'm going to start with the backup story, and then I'm just going to continue through until, present day, my thoughts on growth hormones. So when I was a little girl growing up, I was I was the second tallest. So in school, there was actually one other person, a little girl that was shorter than me. And then it was I who followed her throughout all the three classes, because in school there was three classes. So if I was in third grade, there was three third grade classes. And so I was the smallest compared to another young female that was actually maybe 2 inches shorter than me. So growing up was a little difficult. Not that difficult, but it was difficult in the aspect that I had some kids that would, make fun of me. Now it's called bullying, because back then it was bullying, but it was nothing crazy, but I didn't like it. So everybody would be like, oh, you're so little, you're so cute. I never liked it. So now when I associated cute and little, every time someone calls me cute, I associated little. So I didn't like being called cute because I had associated the cute with the little. I just had a lot of kids, a few kids, just tease me about my height, and I didn't like it. I guess I would express myself to my mother, and my mother felt sad because, she saw concerned. She was concerned about me in terms of, how I was, being made fun of, or however I want to say it was. I'm not exactly sure how she saw it, but she just saw that I was sad about it, and it was like an issue for me. So one day my mother was listening to the news, and actually the radio, because she always listened to the radio. She actually would listen to Radio Wado. For those people that are familiar with Radio Wado, she would listen to Radio Wado. And it was a program that there was a doctor who came on who he specialized in growth and the genetics and all that stuff. So he was a known doctor who had done research and was now doing, I don't want to say trials, but they were actually, it felt like trials eventually, now I believe it felt kind of like trials of providing growth hormones to kids with certain deficiencies that were obviously related genetically, because our genetics is what determines our height. So you may have somebody who has a short mom and a tall dad, and the boy has a brother. Say there's a boy, he has a brother, and he comes out short, and his brother comes out tall, and then you'll see that his mother was short, but the father's tall. So then this is how it happens. You'd be like, how is that your brother if he's so short? And how is that your brother? Well, you know what I'm saying with this. But in my position, it seems like the problem was the genetic deformation. I'm going to say deformation, okay, guys? Obviously, I don't look deformed, but I think that the genetic issue, let's just keep it, the genetic issue lied within my father's side of the family. There was a gene that my grandmother had that was passed down to my father, that was then passed down to me. Now, actually, recently I was asking my mother about this because I wanted to know, what was the issue exactly, because I was so young, I don't really remember what they determined and how they came up with what was the issue. But she had said that I was the one that was carrying this. That I carried this, and I don't really remember if she said anything, because I have 2 more sisters. So my eldest sister didn't have an issue. She was like 5'3", and or is right now 5'3", and I have another sister. She's a little shorter than me, and then I have myself. I'm about 4'11", not yet 5 feet, so 4'11". which is pretty short, but it's not, too bad. All right, so sorry, back to the story. So yeah, my mother heard the information on this radio. She contacted the doctor, and we made an appointment for us three to go. Because, we were all short, and my mother didn't know where we were, how tall we were all going to be. So she just wanted to make sure that she took us all. So she took us all. We went over there. We met with the doctor, and then they wanted to do an exam. They wanted to examine us. So they did their examinations to determine certain things. Certain things they looked for. First off, they asked if you were already in puberty. So once a female hits puberty, it's like they're saying back then, I'm not talking about now, back then, once a woman, even probably a boy, but I'm going to use my example since I'm talking about females because, this is what I went through. So they would look at you as a female and at what level of puberty were you, how close to it, or have you passed already or entered puberty. So if you had entered puberty, what happens is you couldn't take the growth hormones because you no longer qualified for it. Don't know the reasoning exactly, but after puberty, which was weird, they wouldn't administer these growth hormones. So that was part of it. You couldn't be in puberty. You had to be under puberty, and at that time I was around 9, gonna be 10. So after the puberty, after that, they determined my middle sister wasn't able to because she had entered puberty. She's already in puberty. And my eldest sister, they said she was fine, that her growth looked fine. She didn't really need it, that she would be in I'm going to say normal based on the average size of a female, okay? So she was in the normal range. My sister and I weren't, but my middle sister, they couldn't do the treatment on her. And so it was me. I'm sorry guys, my nose is itching a little bit. So it was me that was left and me that seemed to be a candidate for this. Now, the way they looked at you to know if you were approaching puberty was they did a physical. They physically looked at your physical attributes, your female genitals and breasts. It's kind of weird talking about this because it's what they really did. So they would check your top and they would check your bottom for signs of puberty. Okay, guys? So, again, I'm so sorry about the scratching my nose. But so after they did that, there was another exam that they had to do. It's an exam where you had to go to the hospital. And back when I did this was in Kings County Hospital in Brooklyn. We had to go there, and they did this overnight observation testing my blood. I don't know what the blood testing was for. I know that there was a machine that was put on my arm where it would be taking my blood sample on an hourly basis. Now, I think they were trying to test the reaction, the reaction of the drug in my blood and how my blood would react to it. Because I'm trying to think what I remember what happened when I was there. I remember that night like yesterday. I was a little nervous. My mother stood over the hospital to make sure everything was fine with me. So after those exams, it was determined that I was able to take the growth hormone. So at that time, I was currently going to school and I went to Catholic school and I was on a basketball team. I'm so sorry guys about my nose. But so I was on this basketball team and I was so excited, so looking forward, because I was one of the shortest people on the team. Well, I was the shortest. So anyways, the whole story is that I was very excited because I didn't want to be short anymore. And, my mother encouraged me. She's like, yes, this will be good for you. I was convinced. So moving right along, as time went by, and me taking this, so what they did was they sent us the prescription, right, the drug, the hormone, and they came in little vials, and you had a mixer. So you had like a little bottle. Let's say it was some type of water, right? This, I don't know. All you did was you took the water, and you took about 4 cc's of it, injected it inside the drug that was like in powder form. Then you would mix it. You wouldn't shake it. You would mix it because you wouldn't be able to inject yourself with bubbles inside. So after you would you would take the needle and take at least 4 cc's. It was 4 cc's, and inject it on a leg or an arm, and it went in clockwise motion. So it'd be like one day yes, one day no, one day yes, one day no. So it would be one arm, one thigh, the other arm. So it went around in a circular motion. So after that, I did that for a while, and I believe I was taking monthly checkups. Every month I would go to Kings County Hospital and meet with the doctor, and they'll check me. They'll check looking for puberty, looking for growth, measure my height. So this was the process that would happen. So what I do remember is they kept saying that they needed to monitor my weight to make sure that I wasn't gaining too much weight or gaining weight. So they had to monitor my weight as well. Now, I do remember one time going there that there was a waiting area for the kids that were also using this growth hormone. I noticed that I had seen a young little boy. He looked around 7, and he had a whole set of facial hairs. When I saw that, I got scared, and I said, OMG, what is going on? Why are these kids, why is this kid in particular looking like that? And it scared me, right? But come to think about it, sorry guys with this nose nonsense. Come to think of it, what it made me think was that maybe I'm getting some allergies. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably allergies. What I realized is that this kid taking these growth hormones, this might have affected him genetically in the facial hair development. So when you're injected growth hormones, you may not know exactly what particular part of you will this drug affect. Now the target was for growth, but maybe because this was like beginning stuff, they weren't exactly sure, depending on your male, female, your genetics and all that stuff, how this drug was going to affect you. So this little boy had facial hairs like a beard, and he was like 7 years old. 7 years old. I remember his face. I'd never forget that. I remember the little boy's face with all this facial hair. It scared me. Well, anyways, moving along. So that's what I did. I would take the drug, one arm, leg, every other day, and everything like that. I had to do it at the same time every day. Every time I took it, I had to do it at the same time. So it would be, I decided to make it at 8 p.m. because my basketball practice was at 6. By the time I come home, whatever, before I go to sleep, I would have the injection inserted inside my body. So after that, I was on it for about a year. I'm going to say about a year because I remember, because quickly, I started to see that I was gaining weight. As I kept going every month to visit the doctor and him check me, my weight was going up. I got to this weight where I was not comfortable, because now not only was I short, I was getting chubby. And then the name calling began. So it was like Butterball. I would never forget. I still know who would say it. I still know who used to call me that. And I disliked it. Okay? So now I was being called names because of my little weight gain. Meanwhile, I'm taking these growth hormones to grow, and I'm going in the wrong direction. Right? So I expressed to my mother that I no longer wanted to take these growth hormones. I was getting fat. I wasn't even eating, excessively. I had my portions like I always did, and I was just gaining weight. So that was another problem now. My mother was again, she was like, okay, sweetie, if you're having issues with this and you're not happy, then we're gonna get you off of this medication. So we went to see the doctor, and the doctor's appointment, my mother expressed to him how she needed me off because I was gaining weight, and now, I actually had grown about 2 inches. Now that's not a lot for some people, but 2 inches makes a difference. So let's say if you're 4'11", and then before that you were 4'9", it makes a heck of a difference. And I'm a female, so I could wear heels if I wanted to, right? So as she went, she told the doctor got upset. He said that he was a doctor and that he was the one that was going to determine when this would stop. And my mother's like, I'm sorry, this is my daughter. We're talking about her weight. She doesn't like it and it's not healthy for her. I want her off of this. And so that's what happened. We stopped. I don't think there was really much to it. I think you just had to stop. You didn't have to wean off of it, because I don't remember weaning off of it. Oh, hold on. I remember using the last of the supply. So whatever I had left, in the house was the last thing we used, and then there was nothing else to do. And then I was a lot happier that I stopped. But then, I struggled to lose that little weight, because remember how I didn't put it on by overeating. I was already doing exercises by being, active, playing basketball. So the losing this weight was a bit difficult, because I really didn't know how to lose the extra 15-20 pounds that I had gained. So now, guys, if you have any type of experience you want to share with growth hormones, if you have any questions, please let me know. I did a little research on growth hormones right now, and it shows like the price to get them is about $10,000 to $60,000 on a monthly basis. Now there's a lot of different types of growth hormones. Some people, sometimes it has to do with growing your muscles, but for what I was talking about, it has to do with your height, with growth in height. So there are some insurances that accept this. Like, you could go through your insurance and get growth hormones, but you have to see what type of coverage you have. So it depends on whoever it is that you have your health insurance with. But for any other questions you may have, just post a comment. Am I embarrassed to say this? No, guys, I am not embarrassed to say that I took growth hormones, because it happened. Like, why should I hide that I took this? Like, what is there to hide? I was short, I needed it, I took it, and that's it. I didn't abuse it, right? So anyways, whatever comments you have, guys, just let me know. Also, I want to let you know that it's okay to be short. It's not really a bad thing. I get to fit on the train. Before, I used to squeeze myself on the train, and being short, I was able to. Now, I don't like crowded trains, but when you're on 74th Street, you're in Elmhurst, guys, from Elmhurst, everybody that knows I'm from Elmhurst. So when you're from Elmhurst, it's only one stop to 74th Street where you have to transfer to get the express train. So from Elmhurst to 74th Street was one stop, guys. So I would jump on that packed train just for that one stop so that I could transfer onto the express train. So that's my story with my height. I think it's great. I'm happy with my height. I have no complaints about it. Yes, there was a problem when I was little, because I was made fun of and all that stuff, but people are going to find some way to talk or make fun about you. Sometimes they take your best attributes and make fun of it. People could you see how people make fun of this nerdy people? Why are you taking something positive and making fun of it? Well, anyways, that's another story for another day. Just be happy with your height, guys. Be happy you're healthy, you're alive. And that's what's most important, okay? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and hit that notification button, so every time I upload a video, you guys could take a look. I have a lot of things in mind, so please stay tuned for my up and coming videos. Thanks for watching.